we are back here at our Spotlight interview booth at the PeakIt Conference in Brașov, which turns out to be a really amazing event. And I am really thrilled right now to be or have alongside me Andrei Dănilă, who is the CEO of an IT company in Iași called Code932. And I'm really glad to have somebody that's actually the CEO of a startup to talk a little bit about some startups and how startups actually do in this time. So thank you very much for joining us here.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you to the organizers for bringing us all together in this great event.
I really agree with you. Also, huge thank you from my side for all the opportunities and possibilities that this conference gave us to actually network and have a lot of nice discussions. So, if we have you here as the CEO of a company and thinking about, I'm in contact with a lot of developers through my YouTube channel, for instance, and I know that there is this very common fear during these past years with a lot of layoffs happening and having a fair degree of uncertainty in the market. So my question would be, how did the startup ecosystem actually adapt to these challenges? And is this actually a very good time for startups instead?
From this point of view, yeah, I think it is an opportunity for the startups to be able to access higher talented people for lower prices, because we do know the startups have this budgeting problem always. Indeed, it is on the market in Romania right now, in the IT market. It is a problem, which I think it's the wave that hit US a year ago or 2 years ago.
Now it arrives here.
Yeah, it arrives here. And yes, I think it is a window of opportunity specifically on this thing of being able for the same money to get greater talent than 2 years ago. And plus there are people on the market, there are developers available to work.
So do I understand correctly that a challenge of startups actually 2 years ago was that highly skilled people, usually they went to big companies, to big tech, and now suddenly
they were very,
have
very
access
expensive.
to them. Okay,
and they were very expensive. Yeah.
Okay, and now they are affordable. Cool.
Yeah.
And I think they also can bring a lot of value to a startup because they have highly skilled, I guess.
Always startups need much higher efficiency than the big players, because big players have big budgets. Startups are always struggling. And yeah, being able to get the higher talent for lower costs, it's an opportunity.
Cool, that's a very, very nice insight. So I would like to stay a little bit in this topic or on this topic of startups, but bringing another buzzword into the mix, which is AI.
Okay.
So I might be wrong on this, is because as I said, I never really had a startup itself. So I might be wrong, but usually I was used to think that innovation very often comes from startups. Now, with AI, we see a lot of innovation that's driven by OpenAI, that's backed by a lot of very, very big companies. So how does the startup ecosystem actually adapt to this new wave or this new hype of AI? Is it actually a boost for the startup ecosystem? Is it a blocker for the startup ecosystem? It's just a tool that startups use? Or how do you see, let's say, the state of the startup ecosystem in this context of AI?
Indeed, AI it is the buzzword of the moment. And I do think that startups can benefit in two different ways. One, use AI tools for marketing, for creation, for everything that used to cost a lot of money for the startups. And same as with the developers, startups rarely have access to
that
top
funding.
Not just funding, but to the top players in the industry. Now AI kind of levels the things on copywriting, image creation, and so on. So yeah, startups can use these tools. On the other hand, startups are about raising funds, and one of the components is raising funds. And if you add an AI component within your startup, you align with European directions, with funding institution thesis, so it's easier to get funding.
Okay.
Other than that, if you ask me as a professional of the industry, I don't think that AI is mature enough right now to actually deliver everything that it says on a large scale, it has a huge potential. It's probably going to be one of the directions that technology evolves in the future. It still requires a lot of academic to be involved. Again, startups can benefit from working with universities or other academic institutions in their area. And to answer your question, it does open opportunities.
That's actually a very nice take. I think the idea of startups maybe getting a little bit more involved with academia to kind of like collaborate on that.
Yeah.
Usually this didn't really happen a lot, but might be a very good opportunity, I guess. So that's the point.
In Romania, it didn't happen a lot from two reasons, I think, or at least two reasons that I know. One is the academia is not always aimed towards solving real market problems.
Yeah.
They are about discovering, researching, and so on. And at the same time, there's a gap between, like a physical gap, or not. It's very hard for startups, for people that are trying to build a business, to connect with the academical institutions and people. Maybe inviting representatives of the universities to these kind of events and presenting them would facilitate networking more.
Actually, I'll discuss this with the organizers for next year. I think that's a huge idea, actually.
Okay, it is. Because AI, it is a very important direction, and I do think it is at the level where it requires academic involvement.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much for that. So there is one other point that I would like to discuss with you. I know that you are also involved in a project that's called Grădinița de Manager, which in English would be the manager's kindergarten.
Yeah.
So I assume you're kind of like very familiar and very interested in this topic of leadership. And I know this is an area that's very vast and you can read a lot. There's a lot of things to read, to learn and develop your skill set. But I would have a question to you. I know it would be a challenge because it's fairly vague one, but let's try to give 2 or 3 traits of a good leader. So what makes a good leader in your opinion?
I'm going to try and challenge you with the answer, because it can be a good leader for the shareholders or a good leader for the team. A good leader for the shareholders is somebody who gets the job done, who gets the business plan executed properly.
Executed under budget and
for the team is somebody who can connect the right people, make them involved, and sustaining that excitement for as long as the other side of the leader delivers.
Okay. And maybe also, I don't know, helping them grow, flourish. People.
Yes, I think leadership has turned into a science.
Okay.
So it's learnable, teachable. It should be treated this way.
Mm-hmm. But going on this idea, like you could be a good leader for the shareholders or for the people, for the team. Do you think that it is possible to keep a balance between those?
Yeah, you have to.
You have to. Okay.
You have to, because otherwise either the shareholders or the team, you lose somebody. So it's always about a balance. But like in life, everything needs to be balanced. If either way you go is an exception.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. That's a very nice insight. Awesome. It was great to have you here, especially since we had more technical interviews. It was very nice to have one on startup and on leadership. That's really a great opportunity. And I want to thank you very much for taking the time. And I wish you a very pleasant conference day for the time that still has to come. And maybe we'll meet at some point at other events and we'll catch up later. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.